I'm Monique.
And I'm Danielle, and we're here at Facebook headquarters to present our topic, which is how does technology and apps affect our social interactions as millennials, and what are the mental health effects?
So in a day and age where technology has pretty much taken over our society, it only seems natural that we divulge as much information as we can about what it is and what it's doing to us. So, what is it doing to us?
In a new research done by British psychologists, young adults, such as ourselves, are on their smartphone roughly 1/3 of the day, or 5 times every hour. It seems to have become unnecessary but habitual, like some sort of automatic behavior that we have no awareness of.
Now, I live 7 hours away from my immediate family by car, and I live about 7 hours away from my distant family by plane. And without the creation of things like WhatsApp or Skype, I probably wouldn't be able to speak to them as regularly as I do, which has been a revolutionary idea compared to the previous years, where people would have to buy a $5 phone card and speak as quickly as they could just to avoid international fees.
Apps that are used for health, relaxation, and education are used about 9 minutes per day. According to psychologist Adam Atler, and after they use these apps, they are reporting that they feel pretty good about it. Maybe they just meditate for a couple minutes or met their step goal for the day, or maybe they just read another chapter in 50 Shades of Grey. The point is that who are using these apps like Instagram, Facebook, Tinder, or other entertainment apps are reporting that they don't feel very good, and yet those people are spending about 3 times as much time on these apps. With all of the mindless time being spent on our devices, it leads us to another question. Is this technology putting an end to our interpersonal social skills? Well, what studies have found is that it kind of is. Our communication is constantly evolving, and right now what we're seeing is that there's more and more people that prefer quick and frequent interactions, but social media platforms such as Instagram and Twitter and Facebook have produced this feeling that people need to be broadcasting their lives on the internet. And if you think about it, like really think about it, this is completely nuts. Like, why do we do that? People used to just live their lives, not for the sake of reporting it, but now it seems like people only live their lives so they can post about it.
Now, in a study done by Forbes, it says that 7% of our communication is based on verbal words, and the other 90% consists of nonverbal cues. So that's body language, eye contact, your tone of voice, all of which we do lose when we communicate through our phones. It might even be said that some of the people struggle with holding conversations in public because of their dependency for social media.
Right.
They are so used to that form of communication that they now seem a little awkward because they didn't get the practice that their brain needs.
And the brain needs what we call emotional clues. We need these in order to know how to behave or respond to certain cues. Remember those awkward moments when you and a friend would be deciding where to go eat and your friend just replies with K instead of okay with a smiley face? Well, the problem there is we don't see the body language or hear the tone of voice, so it can be interpreted in so many ways, this causing miscommunication or even arguments that might not have even had to happen. Now that brings us to our last point. What health issues are coming out of this expansion of technology use?
So the screens that these social media platforms provide are hindering some of our abilities to socialize with the same ease as we once might have. It's so much easier to communicate when you have that moment to react and think with social media, which social media gives you. But is there no saying what other harms can come from this screen advantage that we have? This screen that is so personal to us is now becoming something like a shield or a mask to others. And we need to create some social media literacy. And what does that mean?
Exactly. So social media literacy is having the proficiency to communicate appropriately and responsibly. Bullying isn't something new, but it has undoubtedly changed over the years. It wasn't all that long ago that the majority of people didn't have their own computers. Maybe one family shared one desktop computer. Now almost everyone has a personal computer, as well as computers at home, work, and school, making so much more to assemble what that once before.
Social media is one of the most used websites by teenagers, where they can post photos and view uncensored sentences for everyone to see. In a study done by Huffington Post, 52% of the teens are reporting being cyberbullied, and 70% of teens reported seeing cyberbullying happen on someone else's post. All of this can be quite overwhelming, and since social media and technology isn't going anywhere, we have to figure out how to deal with all of this. So how do we now?
Right, so number one, educate. Like we said earlier, the way we communicate is always developing and changing, and it's our job to be responsible and understand the amount of attention given away to our social media apps and taken away from our loved ones.
And another rule is that we can make rules for yourself when eating dinner or at a meeting or maybe just walking in public. make sure your phone is away and out of sight. So therefore, you're able to truly take in and communicate with all of those around you.
Well, I really hope you guys liked our presentation. We're gonna say bye now.
Bye.